I'm Claudia, and welcome to our little community garden. Talking about who I am, I have to tell you about my two lives. One part of my life is me being head of the Welcome Center for Dresden Concept, and I'm in charge of international researchers coming to Dresden, and I help them settle. And the other part of my life is me being a project leader for a project called Peace Slam. We do Peace Slam. We don't do poetry slam or comedy slam or science slam. We do Peace Slam because we thought it's important to make this city a little peaceful community, a more peaceful community. And I'm really happy to present the project and to be part of the TEDx Changemaker program now.
So, can you tell me more about your project and what is that you do for our community here in Dresden?
Working for the Welcome Center, working at the Welcome Center, I have the chance to really talk to international people every day. And I'm really appreciating that chance because I realized not everybody has the chance. So my relatives don't have the chance, most of my friends don't have the chance to talk to international people, to get new perspectives and to really be able to shape their perspectives or maybe to flip them around. So I realized that having this privilege to talk to people, I have to do something with it. And then 2014, so this is how I came to the project, 2014, when we had this so-called refugee crisis in Dresden with a very, very low percentage of foreigners in town, received all these busloads of people coming from conflict states. The city and the community was challenged. So I was suddenly forced to pick a side. The community wanted me to decide if I'm against refugees or if I'm in favor of. And I didn't know what to actually, which side to pick or what to say, but the community was challenging us. So me and my friends, we got involved, we got somehow active, and we found a side. But what I don't want is to go to demonstrations. You suddenly see people on the other side, you suddenly see colleagues being on the other side of the demonstration. And this is really, really challenging. So I decided to do something, to do a project.
So how did you find what to do?
Yeah.
What kind of process did you go through to find out what to do and to become a volunteer, to actually start volunteering?
Yeah, so before I moved to Dresden from Karlsruhe, I never volunteered. I always wanted, but I had a 40 hours job and working more. So I thought, oh no, I'm working too much, I can't volunteer. And then I came here and ended up with a 30 hours job a week. So I thought I could volunteer, but I didn't really find something that I was burning for. And then I found these little metal things. They're actually in the pavement of Dresden pavements. Okay. So you only see this part, and it says location and a number, and I didn't know what it was. I thought, this must be something from the electricity. And I tried to find it out, but it was really, really hard. So I did some research, and I found out that these little containers, it's a container, I didn't know that because it's in the pavement, these things actually mark places in Dresden. It's called Mahndepot, so it's a little tiny memorial marking places in Dresden that tell stories and share stories from Dresden 1930 to 1945. Okay, Dresden and Nazi Germany. Which role did Dresden play? So I found that really interesting because this is somehow my topic, and I got in touch with the organizers and suddenly was involved, and I did PR for these things. And then I ended up in this association, Memorare Pacem, Society for a Culture of Peace, and started to organize big events, conferences, and small events, cinema events, whatever, to this culture of peace topic. And then one day we had an event at the UN Day, International Day of Peace in 2016, and we needed another tiny cultural thing to put into that event to top it off. And suddenly there was the idea, because I'm working with international researchers, and I'm talking to them all the time. I was asking a few of them, I asked 5 people, and they all said yes immediately. I was asking them, would you be open for something else than Science Slam? Would you be open to something called a Peace Slam? And they said yes. And I only gave them like a few rules. The total Peace Slam shouldn't be more than 1 hour. Everybody gets 10 minutes. And peace is like the abstract topic above everything. There are millions of topics you can pick, but it should lead to the abstract term peace. And everybody came up with an idea. I had no idea what everybody will perform on stage. We had a host, he actually had a honk, and he was honking when 10 minutes were over. So in the beginning we were really, really strict. And everyone had a completely different topic, from the topics like being a leftover woman in China, from a girl in her late 20s, a single girl, which is a huge pressure in China if you're a leftover woman and you don't follow the path that your parents want you to follow, or war memories from the perspective of a child, or even the role of media. How does media shape your perspective of war and peace, and of society, and of prejudices, right? We are talking about prejudice very much. So this led to the project Peace Slam. We call it Peace Slam. You can check the hashtag Peace Slam. The group is called Mic for Peace. We are now about 14, almost 15 people. I'm trying to convince more people. 15 international researchers who have their own topics and their slides prepared. And we do Peace Slams on intercultural stages and also in schools.
And everything that you do is voluntary, so other than your regular day job. And is it easy to volunteer?
It is easy, just do it. So find a project that you like, that you find interesting, and ask the people in charge. Or go to your favorite local festival and ask people if you can help out anytime. And then you will get in touch with people who are volunteers already, and you might find a topic that you're actually burning for.
Did you have any challenges during volunteerhood? Were everybody acceptive of the Peace Slam project, or did you have some obstacles that you needed to go over during?
There are always obstacles when you're volunteering. So volunteering, I would say it's a very cool thing, because you learn many new topics like PR, accounting, presenting different topics than in your business world. So it's really shaping all the features that you might come up with. But of course, everything takes more time than in the business world. So sometimes I'm over enthusiastic, and sometimes I'm just fed up and sick of it because it takes so much time, right? Volunteering means you work with people who are not paid for what they do. So you just believe that everybody is as enthusiastic as you are. So for me, it worked out because the people are really in that topic, and they really want to be on stage. They want to tell their stories to children or to the Dresden society. So it's quite okay, but volunteering is like you bring something to a simmer, and it simmers a long time, and then suddenly something happens. But it depends on the people. It always depends on the people working with you. Yeah.
And can you tell me, why should one volunteer? What would you say? Where is the reward in volunteering?
I would say you volunteer because you want to participate. You want to participate in the community. You want to give something back. You want to contribute something. So when I came to Dresden, I built up a network very quickly. So I'm really grateful. It was way easier than in the town I lived last time. And I immediately felt I have to give something back to the society. And then when I see the challenges in Dresden since 2014, since Dresden changed and the community split in half, I thought this is my chance to actually contribute something, to use the abilities that I have, or to use the networks that I have, and contribute to make this at least the city a more peaceful place.
And as you know, the motto of our TEDx conference this year is listen. And why do you think that listening in particular is important in shaping our community for the better?
I was thinking about this question because I knew about the question before, and I crawled into my own head. And I have to confess that sometimes I'm not a good listener. It's a lot of effort to really listen, and I know that I'm sometimes not careful enough, which is irritating people, and it's challenging friendships and relations to your relatives, right, to your family. And I could honestly say, not listening carefully enough, it's actually protecting me from being too empathetic or from thinking too much for other people. But is this what I want to be? Is that who I want to be? No, I want people to listen to me carefully. I want to learn by listening to other people. And if you're actively listening, you actually have the chance to really make a change, because if you hear what people say, if you're trying to understand the motives and not just trying to convince with all your points, which is, to be honest, forcing and violent, right? If you really hear what they say, you can work with their points and maybe then convince them to change their perspective. What we actually do with the Peace Slam, right? We want to change perspective, or come from a bird perspective to the frog perspective. And you can only do that when you also listen. Everybody who's on a Peace Slam stage, they listened before they even came up with a slam.